We know how much you love talking about player feedback, and we do too. What's up, everybody? This is Let's Talk Customer Feedback, and I'm your host, Natalie. Thanks for listening, and thanks for telling your Player Insights Pro friends about us. This is Season 3, so let's get right into it. The gaming industry expects another booming year in both excitement and sales. But with the launch of many new games comes the realization that the market becomes even more crowded and the bar is raised yet again in all aspects, including games' complexity levels, design, story, and character features. So, can leveraging player feedback help with this? Let's find out with today's special guest. How to leverage player feedback for the ultimate player experience. Hello and welcome to a new episode of Let's Talk Customer Feedback. Today we have the pleasure of hosting Diana Choi, CRM Manager at Playstudios Asia. First, let's say hi to Diana. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me in this podcast. I'm excited to chat with you and share some useful insights about what I do as CRM Manager.
We're super happy to have you here. So before we dive into the main topic, we would like to hear more about you. Can you tell us how you got into the industry and what do you do today?
Yeah, for sure. So it's actually been an interesting journey for me. I started working in the fashion and digital media company called Hypebeast, and the company is known for delivering street style related news, and they're most up to date about the latest sneaker drops. So I've always been interested in fashion and digital marketing, so that's where I thought I wanted to be in. Until COVID hit, I felt I was sort of hitting a plateau in my career, felt I needed dramatic change, and I knew gaming industry was still on the rise and definitely one of the industry that rather maintained its rapid growth. So when I saw an opportunity, I knew this was the risk that it was worth a try. So I remain in the space of digital marketing, but now also branch out to the CRM aspect.
That's awesome. And yes, definitely the games industry, it's on the rise. So I think that it's amazing to see how big the industry is getting. So thank you so much for sharing that. So with that story in mind, we can't wait to hear what Diana has to say about all this. So let's start. Diana, can you please introduce us a bit to your role in the company and what do you do as a CRM manager at Playstudios?
For sure. So Playstudio owns various free-to-play casino apps such as bingo, slots, blackjack, and more. People get to play our apps for free and earn real-life rewards in return. So my current role as the CRM manager is overseeing my Vegas app. I create and publish content on our social media platforms and deliver messages to our players through email and push notifications. We have different events that take place on the app day to day, an array of reward partners. So it's really important that players are aware of what's going on in the app and also be informed about any new partnership we have as well.
I love it that it's so diverse. It sounds very interesting. And we've heard that a lot of the crucial part of a job of a CRM is to implement dynamic strategies and to excite and engage players in an authentic way. Can you tell us how you do this at Playstudios and what tools do you utilize?
So on social side, we use Sprout Social for scheduling all our content. So some strategies we use to engage the players and encourage them is to, comment down below some of the questions we ask or share their progress in the mini game events. On the CRM side, we use Teak, which is a smaller platform that is equipped specifically for gaming. And it's a lot of A/B testing. So for email, we A/B test different subject lines as this is the very first thing players see in their inboxes. And for which push notifications, we've been A/B testing assets that are embedded. We also utilize personalization, and that's always been part of our strategy. So as something simple as, mentioning their first name in the subject lines, or how many chips they're getting in the campaign messaging really helps with the click rates. And another strategy is recurring push notifications. So we would set like dynamic conditions where if players have not collected their daily rewards, we'll remind them to do so.
Right. Personalization, I think it's always key, especially today with so much competition in the gaming and all the industries actually. So I get what you're saying that. And I bet as a CRM manager, you also get a lot of player feedback. So can you tell us how does player feedback influence your day-to-day position?
Yeah, so we definitely receive players' feedback from various platforms, especially from social media pages like Facebook, Discord channel, Instagram, Twitter, as well as through App Store reviews. The
Right.
gaming industry heavily relies on players' feedback, and quick decisions have to be made when it comes to bugs related to new features and product launches. So if there are a lot of, high volumes of responses on specific issues, I then relate back to our game engineers and product team. So with that being said, it can definitely feel overwhelming as there are a lot of responses to go through each day. So if you're
Yeah,
not,
definitely.
yeah, so if you're not on top of it, it can catch up really fast.
And there must be so much noise, right? Like so much to look over. Like it's hard to find exactly what you're looking for.
For sure, yeah.
So as the CRM manager, do you feel you put the players' voices at the center of your strategy? And how do you gather this feedback and create strategies that cater to their needs?
Definitely. So players' feedback is crucial to our app development, and we're continuously looking for ways to collect data efficiently from our players to, better understand their needs. So one way to gather this feedback is through conducting surveys. So whenever we launch new themed slots, mini games, events, we send surveys to a group of players to get direct feedback. So some of the questions we cover is, did you enjoy the event? If not, what and why you didn't like about it? Were there any difficulty in understanding how the game works? And would you engage again? And another method is using a tool like Affogata, which has been actually an amazing benefit to our app. So because it gives an overview of how players are responding to our app. And what's even better is that, as opposed to surveys, we can see responses in real time. So we can confidently say that data is unbiased since players are already discussing amongst themselves. So a great starting point for creating strategies is identifying problems. So both of these methods are how we put the player's voice at the center, so that we can recognize and what we're lacking on and how can we do better to improve their future experience.
I actually really like this because we have been following Playstudios for a while, and we've seen that really the company is super player obsessed. And we've talked to a lot of people from Playstudios, and it's amazing because we hear from you that you're not afraid to look for the mistakes and to look for the things that you really need to change, and you're constantly looking for ways to optimize the game. So I think that's awesome, and it really makes Playstudios special.
For sure. And we actually have like couple of Facebook pages, and we actually stay close in contact with these like Facebook admins who are like loyal customers to us. So yeah, we are very we have that bond, I would say, with
Yeah.
players.
Yeah, and at the end, it's like the most important thing to have this bond with players that will prove your like loyalty to your games in the long term.
Yes, for sure.
Definitely. And can you tell us a bit of how you gather and analyze your player feedback? So you already mentioned a bit about the surveys and Affogata. And so maybe I would like to hear more of the second part of it. So once you gather these insights, how does the company utilize this feedback to optimize the games?
Yeah, so one great example is when we were gathering initial feedbacks of our new feature called Clubhouse. It's a feature that allows players to form a team up to 10 members, and they have to collectively earn points to unlock different levels of vaults to claim rewards at the end. Players can create, invite, join different clubs, and club points resets every Monday so that it sort of acts as an ongoing challenge feature. And this was definitely considered one of the biggest features we have put forward. So with the use of Affogata, it consolidated all this feedback into one place. So we created projects by, categorizing and filtering. Firstly, listing out all the keywords and topics that were related to the features, such as clubhouse, clubs, club points, member. Yeah, this goes on, but sticking to the nouns definitely was useful. Secondly, using a filter to exclude all the posts that were coming from our own handle, as well as certain irrelevant keywords like nightclubs that might actually clash with what we intend to
Yeah,
do.
filtering out that noise.
Yeah, exactly. So we've been analyzing players' feedback and sentiment on a weekly basis since its launch, and we found a handful of great insights already, such as, feature bugs, uncertainties, and how Clubhouse actually works, and additional interest. So bugs-related issues like game engineers are notified right away for, future investigation. For uncertainties in Clubhouse mechanism, we try to communicate and explain better on how the feature actually works. And one of the common themes for additional interest was that players wanting to see a chat function within the Clubhouse so that they can interact with one another directly in the app. This is a type of feedback that gets passed on to our product team, and it's already in the pipeline of their future development. So since
Well,
players,
that's awesome.
yeah, so since players currently do not have the ability to interact with each other at this moment, we actually created a Discord channel so the club members can communicate online instead. You can imagine there's a lot of conversations happening every
I can
second.
definitely imagine.
Picking up on the relevant topics through Affogata has been very practical as well.
It's awesome the process that you just mentioned. Like you really mentioned an agile process of like taking all this real-time feedback and going to the engineers and to the product team and really implementing these changes on the go, which makes like such an efficient process for Playstudios.
Yes.
That's awesome. And what role do you think the analysis of player feedback and sentiment has to do with player retention?
Understanding our players has a huge impact on our retention. So, we can assume the more data we have means the more insights you have. But what's really important is like the quality of data. So, we can look at players' in-app activity data and performance all day, but without analyzing players' direct feedbacks and sentiments, like we won't be able to evolve the game that caters to their needs. So as mentioned earlier, like running these qualitative analysis help us identify problems and demands so that we can prevent the risk of players churning. One of the biggest reasons for our players to retain in our app is to redeem real life rewards as they earn loyalty points from playing the game. So a lot of the players get excited and share their experiences in our social media pages. They share their photos, their videos. They discuss what they enjoyed the most and what more they would like to see.
Right.
So not only brings out the community aspect of My Vegas, but also indicates player sentiment and how satisfied are they with our reward selection. So, our reward selection span anywhere from hotels, dining, casinos,
Wow, that's
entertainment.
awesome.
We have tours and like so much more. And many of them are also geolocation based as well. So that is, we have something for everyone. So we receive a lot of feedback on, when will this reward restock? Why isn't, this reward available? And all of our rewards are based on partners' availability. So sometimes it's difficult because it's something not in our control.
Right.
But we do try our best to ensure things are restocked regularly and constantly in the process of, expanding our partnerships as well.
That's such a great insight for creating engagement. I think I've never heard something like this. It's awesome.
Yes.
And what are the top 3 insights that bring your team the biggest impact?
From CRM perspective, it would be clicks, returning users and value, and players' feedback. We're almost like going in a full circle here. First, are they clicking into our marketing campaigns? If so, like how many of them are returning to our app and spending in the game? And to support these data, like we could then validate by looking into players' feedback on, their feedback on customer service, technical issues, product and features. Are they overall satisfied with our game? So I think like those definitely are top 3 player insights.
Right, and these insights actually lead us exactly to our next question, which is kind of like how do you intertwine the players' insights, qualitative and quantitative data?
So if quantitative data shows what our players are doing, we can find out why's behind what our players are doing through qualitative data like feedbacks and sentiments. So going back to the Clubhouse example, one of the additional layers we executed was hosting a weekly club spotlight on social media pages. Essentially, it highlights top 3 clubhouses that have earned the most club points and unlock the highest vault every week. We then reward them with extra chips if they have earned the spot. We added this competitive layer thinking this could potentially increase the clubhouse activity in the app. And based on the quantitative data, we did see an initial spike in the activity when we first started the weekly club spotlight leaderboard. But week on week, we saw little to no impact in the clubhouse engagement. And using qualitative data, we were able to investigate further and find the reasoning behind it. So, for instance, players from lower VIP tiers do not feel motivated enough to participate since high tiers are prone to earn greater club points. So hence we started to see patterns where same clubhouses take turns ranking in the top 3 leaderboard. With this in mind, we were in the process of changing the requirements of weekly club spotlight social events so that, this is more inclusive and hopefully more motivating for players to engage in the future.
Right. That's awesome. That's really, really great to understand how you mix that data. And this may be the hardest question of all, and it's the last question. So if there would be a dream insight you could get from your players, what would it be?
For many free-to-play games, retention is the biggest asset, and Playstudios definitely try to put players' voices at the center. We can confidently say that we have a strong connection with some of our loyal players who's been with us since the beginning, like 10 years probably.
Wow.
So we actually host a quarterly players roundtable where we get to sit down and openly chat with them alongside of our product and rewards team to get in-depth knowledge about their experiences of using the app. And this is definitely valuable dream insight for sure as we hear feedback.
The most valuable.
Yeah, in firsthand.
Yeah.
So with these feedbacks, we really strive towards turning them into actionable strategies. So every time we have players roundtable session, we're definitely grateful for that opportunity.
That's great. And really, I can't keep on saying it more, but it's amazing how Playstudios really, really emphasizes their strategy on player feedback. I love that.
Yeah, and we really do have that, strong bond with all these players because we host events offline as well, where we get to meet players in person and they can win prizes in persons as well. So we really have that strong connection. So I think it's just always great opportunity to really meet them in person and talk to them directly as well.
Definitely. And with that note, Diana, I really want to thank you so much for taking the time to participate in today's podcast and sharing your insights on the impact of player feedback to create the ultimate player experience.
Thank you, Natalie, again for having me in this podcast. It was a pleasure speaking with you, and hopefully we can reconnect again in near future.
Definitely. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And And that's it for today. Let's Talk Customer Feedback is a podcast made for player insights professionals, player feedback enthusiasts, gaming industry experts, and anything in between. The podcast is created by Affogata, the AI-driven player feedback analytics platform that cuts through the noise and brings you the player insights that move the needle. In each episode, we have a special guest from the industry, including Affogata's own customers that share their knowledge on what player feedback and the voice of the customer means for them and the companies they work at. Follow Let's Talk Customer Feedback on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts. If you'd like to know more about Affogata and what it does, go to affogata.com and get more info on our social media, searching for Affogata on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. See you next time. Don't keep your players waiting.